Hello again, Del Ray Cross here, and my plan is to finally finish the first set of each month of the 20 years worth of anachronisms, each of 1 month, which is December. It's our first month that I've tried to go just that month from the beginning to the end. I had started doing some random stuff at the beginning, so it'll be funny and fun to try to not repeat myself, but right now I'm finishing up December's in well past the middle of December December 2022. Today is January the 26th of 2023, and so these poems are not too far away from me. I just wrote them just probably less than a month ago, or about a month ago. And this one's a long one. It's called The Sublimity of Slimy Ochre. I think it's supposed to be a play on okra. I'm not sure why yet. Let me just, if there's any reason whatsoever for it, except for just because it does. The poem was posted Friday, December the 23rd, 2022, on the Anachronisms project blog, and it is number 3807. The Sublimity of Slimy Ochre. Defined with rhymes down at the 5 and dime. Were it not for Sally's opus, Charlie would not be on the bus with the rest of the band, looking for an excuse to glaze his hand over hers. But both of Sally's hands are in her purse. That's my curse, thinks Charlie, unafraid as he is to march in the football grass, pretending like his sorry ass can toot sweet music from a tuba. He'd heard that kissing brass and marching band was a ticket to the best lips for kissing. That's what first led the poor guy to spend half the next several summers wearing a tuba, while the band choreographer, barely out of high school himself, had him high stepping and marching for hours on end, saying, "Go this way," and "No, that way," until he swore with the sweat dripping down his lids and onto his perfectly puckered embouchure that a heat stroke was the next thing on the agenda. But the tuba, turns out, is as heavy as the dumbbells and barbells that the quarterbacks attack every afternoon at the school's stinky gymnasium. And before he or anyone else knew it, Charlie had slimmed down, buffed out, and caught about as much stares and glares from all the school gals and a fair shape of guys at Skilly High as, say, at Dirk, the linebacker, who was also the senior class president, who was also but a shoe-in for the prom king and valedictorian. Or so the word was circulated up and down the Skilly rumor mill. But Charlie seemed competitively unaware, even still, so he had no idea that both hands in purses, when it comes to band crushes, mean nothing but a bit of teenage nerves. "Serves you right," said Sally O'Malley to Charlie McFarley as the bus chugged along Route 218, and the driver, as always, hit every cotton pick and bump. "Did what?" was all Charlie could dumbfoundedly exclaim, in a way that sounded like both a question and a curse. "Oh, hush," Sally rallied, suddenly sounding a bit more like Sally, with a timbre for which poor Charlie would not have been able to find an appropriate word. But it fell somewhere between sultry and silly, a bit inundated with notes up and down a rather wide register, and with that, Sally O'Malley took one hand, in no way reluctantly, from her purse, leaving the other hand in there for good measure, and reached her arm over enough so that she could clasp her warm and wet palm around Charlie's knuckles, at least as far as they could go, which wasn't far. And Charlie, unable to either think or blink, turned the brightest body-wide shade of red that a second-generation Dubliner with freckle-covered skin could seemingly physically get. It glowed, the truth be told, and his mind was so full of a burgeoning glory that, for him, heaven itself would never again sound anywhere near as good as it should. It was later that night, after the game, and once he got home, before he noticed the yellow gold glittery stuff that was stuck like goo to the tops of those teenage knuckles that Sally had so electrically grasped. That's, of course, when he noticed the glittery goo was the very same shade of makeup that Sally would religiously slather all over her face. But do you think he was worried a wink over his newly jaundiced knuckles? Why, he didn't even wash that hand before hitting the hay for the night to dream all sorts of sun-colored dreams while sleeping in giddy fits and starts. And when Charlie finally awoke the next morning, even it being a Saturday and all, he didn't sleep 1 minute longer than he would have had it been a Monday. He sat straight up in his bed and looked out before him at a world he could not even recognize. In fact, what he saw was not what was physically there, but instead the words to describe his brand new perspective might include such lexemes as purpose and future and clarity and more than a glimmer of confidence, which, well, was never a word one had previously associated with our boy Charlie, for he was awake. Yes, awake and alert. Whatever the day before yesterday would never be seen again. He might even have, deep down, known this innately, but like much else, wouldn't begin to know how to say it. He slipped his feet down to the floor all a-swoon and got washed up and dressed with newfound intent. And when he walked out the door into the sunlight, he felt as if he could just reach to the sky and touch the sun or the moon. And I tell you, thereafter, he probably did every once in a while. Literally touch it. That's just how profound the indelible change that took hold of Charlie McFarley, just from the clutch of a sweaty palmed hand so caked in goopy gold-colored makeup it stayed glued atop his buzzing knuckles for around about 45 minutes one way and just about 45 minutes the other. That's to and from the football game and 3 seats from the back of the bus last night. There was no way of going back to who he had been before, and that satisfied his entire being, his very existence. So, if by chance you knew him before, you should by all means know him today. There are some things we do and some things done to us that might cause us to irrevocably change. It's for certain. But I wonder just how many things I can say that have happened to you or to me, things so unexpected in life that cause us to have such a jolt, a magnificence, that in fact there is just no way that we could ever go back to being that person or that lack of a person, which only the day before we were. I'd venture to say that such moments are rare, the things that propel us from what we are presently and out into the glowing and open receptacle of the future, if a future indeed is in the cards, if there happens to be a tomorrow in which we might, with some luck, wind up. So here's to that human you never expected to be, but somehow were always, that somehow you were always, that you'd nonetheless find one day in yourself, that you always thought that you'd nonetheless find one day in yourself. Another error in my long list of errors in December of 2022, which is making me feel like I have dementia or something. I don't know. I'm 55, but you never know. It also could be the troubles that I've had as of recent, but December wasn't so bad. Anyway, here's to more moments like Charlie's. May they greet us with frequency, and may we all be better for meeting such milestones headlong and with open hearts and minds. There's some upbeat stuff for you. Thank you very much.